Welcome to 8 at 8. All over the world, people are slowly walking through the last week of Jesus' life. And on Wednesday of that week, not a lot happens. But there's one crucial event that is pivotal to understanding and appreciating and even accomplishing all that happens to Jesus in that last week. Iscariot, oh, the devil has you now. Your kiss tastes like a crown of thorns. It was Judas Iscariot who made the intentional trade of Jesus' life for 30 coins. And this morning, as you pause to try to understand this last week of Jesus and to appreciate Jesus himself, I want to ask you to think deeply through this Judas event. Because Judas, like many of us, intentionally walks into sin. Let me say that again. Judas, like many of us, intentionally walks right into the sin that he wanted to commit, that he planned to commit. And I want to share a song with you this morning. I just found the song this morning. It's by a band from my home state there in Virginia. Almost 10 years ago, they recorded this song, and it's going to help you to enter into this Judas moment. And as you're listening, I want to ask you to not just think about Judas and not just judge him, but begin to let God open up your heart to what he might want to reveal to you about your own Judas moment. So would you open up the lyrics to this song on Facebook Live, or if you're on the website, you can open up the attachment and follow along as we enter this Judas moment. Woe unto you, double-crossing the Son of Man. For in the dish you have dipped your hand. Though you come here to deliver the deliverer from simple kiss into tainted hand. Iscariot, Iscariot, oh, the devil has you now. Used for betrayal. Iscariot, Iscariot, oh, the devil has you now. Your kiss tastes like a crown of thorns. Woe unto you, double-crossing the Son of Man. For in the dish you have dipped your hand. Though you come here to deliver the deliverer from simple kiss into tainted hand. Iscariot, Iscariot, oh, the devil has you now. Set up for betrayal. Iscariot, Iscariot, oh, the devil has you now. Your kiss tastes like a crown of thorns. I have used your unbelief to set them free. So die now, Judas. I have used your unbelief to set them free. So die now, Judas. I have used your unbelief to set them free. So die now, Judas. The devil has you now. The devil has you now. Friends, I wonder this morning if you see what a pivotal role the planned, intentional betrayal of Judas played in the last week of Jesus. I know you already know about it, but I'm asking you to step into this last week of Jesus and feel what these lyrics to this song so beautifully ask us to consider. The double crossing, delivering the deliverer. From a simple kiss into tainted hands, Iscariot, Judas Iscariot. The devil has you now. You're set up for betrayal. The devil has you now. Your kiss tastes like a crown of thorns. Friends, this morning I'm wondering if you can relate. If you can relate to that intentional, planned betrayal of the Jesus that you know about, that you've maybe been to church and sung about, and that you pray to, and that you claim to follow in some way. Does anyone who's listening and watching this morning, can anyone identify with that intentional, planned betrayal? I sure can. And this moment of Holy Week, where we center in on the plan that Judas made. He hasn't betrayed him yet, but he's gone and he's exchanged his allegiance to Jesus for his allegiance to his own greed, his own advancement, his own pleasure. How many of us have exchanged Jesus for pleasure? I know I have. How many of us have exchanged Jesus for intentional revenge? How many of us have exchanged our allegiance to Jesus for holding on to stuff in our heart and knowing that it's going to lead us to saying things that are just hurtful and spiteful? And I have. How many of us have intentionally skipped connecting with other brothers and sisters in Christ? We've exchanged all kinds of things in our schedule to avoid being around other people who might be able to encourage us, who might need to challenge us, who we might just need to connect with on a real level. For some, that looks like literally never showing up to any church on a Sunday, but a couple times a year. For others, it means avoiding real conversations that people often have when they get real and actually talk with each other. But see, those are all ways of just exchanging our openness to God, for God to move and work in our heart, for this surface level, distant level kind of relationship with Jesus. How many of us sometimes refuse to open up our heart to God, and we exchange an open heart to God for so many alternatives. We think we need to protect ourselves, or we think we're not really ready to let Jesus have the key to that room, or for Jesus to enter this particular relationship, or this social media thread, or this use of my computer, or this relationship that I have, or this thing that I really want to say, or this thing that I really want to do because I think it's going to bring me some benefit, which is the exact same thing that Judas was thinking. Listen again to the bridge of that song. I have used your unbelief to set them free. Judas' unbelief, his betrayal, was used as part of the bigger plan to set anyone free who would say, you know what, I'm done exchanging all this stuff. Namely, I'm done exchanging myself for my allegiance to Jesus. I'm ready to deny myself and to follow Jesus. I'm ready to take up my cross and to follow him instead of exchanging something I think I need or want for him. I have used your unbelief to set them free, Judas. The last part of that bridge, though, is what really just got me today, and it may even made you uncomfortable. So die now, my Judas. If you read a lot of the words that Jesus shared after he rode into the town on the donkey, but before he was arrested and tortured and crucified, if you read a lot of his words, they're just filled with just straight truth for people to either accept or reject, or more importantly, so that people can either accept or reject him. And I just want to let you know, from my personal experience, when we reject Jesus, when we reject his way of life, man, it leads to death. And so it sounds like a rough lyric, so die now, Judas. But that's exactly what I've experienced when I've turned my back on Jesus. And I'm talking about intentionally planning to betray Jesus. I've done it. You may have as well. And you may, and by the way, here's how I want to end today. You actually may right now be in the middle of making a plan to betray Jesus. This is the moment to stop, to not follow the spirit and track of Judas, but to follow the spirit and track of Jesus, who said, Father, not my will, but yours be done. May we all burn up every plan we have to betray Jesus, and may we follow him to the cross today, tomorrow, this whole week, as we think deeply about who he is, about what he did for us, and what he's asking us to do for him, to lay down those intentional plans of betrayal and to follow him to the cross.